All right. What is going on, everyone? Hope everyone had an amazing weekend, gearing up for the Halloween weekend. I decided I'm going to be a pirate. I've made up a fictional character for my kids called Captain Bob, who gets into all kinds of mischief. So I'm going to be Captain Bob. I guess that's the plan for today. So I'm looking forward to it. Happy Halloween, everyone. Hope you had an amazing weekend and are getting ready for some fun tonight. Let me make sure we've got everything set up. I'm running a few minutes late from parent teacher conference, which went very well, which for those of you who are parents, that's always a bonus. So yeah, we got a few more people rolling in here as a part of it. So again, normally I'm not late for this stuff. So hopefully you all can forgive me this one time. So what we are going to talk about for the next 20 minutes or so is we are going to talk about, I like my team to this, scary things sales teams are still doing. So shout out to Becca for the clever title. Becca and my marketing team, Halloween is her favorite, what do you call it? I guess holiday. So she's very excited, I know, for tonight. So, look, this time of year, a lot of us are thinking about things like, what are we going to do for next year? How's this year going to end? What's the economy going to look like? All of those things. And so, when it comes to scary things right now, I really feel like now is a particularly nerve-wracking time, and that, for a lot of organizations, I can tell you the things that got us to where we are today aren't necessarily going to be the things that are going to get us to where we want to be. And I think that that's a really important thing for a lot of folks to think about is, what are the habits, behaviors, et cetera, that I'm going to need to think about adjusting, or maybe some beliefs that I've had in the past that in the reality may not be serving me anymore. So for everyone, I just dropped in the chat here too. Make sure if you haven't signed up for Forefront, Forefront is a virtual conference. It's actually this Wednesday. You can sign up now. I just dropped a 20% discount there. I've got Kevin Dorsey, Amy Volas, my friend Nora, who's the head of sales at an organization called User Testing. We've got sales leaders from Splunk. I know I'm missing a bunch of people, sales leaders from EcoVadis. We've got sales leaders from a ton of different organizations, a bunch of our own consultants as well too, and practice leads are going to be sharing their information and sharing their insights. And so make sure, tune in this Wednesday, Forefront. It's going down. Okay, there it is. For some reason, the comment looked like it didn't go through, but I'm just going to drop it again. So join us, action-packed. We've got 3 tracks: Modern Leader, Modern Seller, and Modern RevOps. So no matter what you're looking for, I've got something for you. As a part of this, I will obviously be keynoting as well too. So I'm excited to do that. I'm excited for sessions with my friends as well. If you're joining me on LinkedIn, we got 25 or so folks live now. We are also now just brand new starting to do this on Zoom as well. So if you just want to have kind of a consistent calendar reminder, you can just sign up on that link, and you can either join us on LinkedIn or you can join us on Zoom, whatever's easiest for you, whatever's easiest. If you like to be spontaneous and you're like, oh, Jake's live, let me just go hop in. We will never stop just doing it on LinkedIn as a part of that. Okay, this is kind of distracting. It's my new iPhone charger. Charges a whole bunch of things. See, it's IT. This is the name of the brand. Weighty is the name of the brand. So let's hop into it. So scary things sales teams are still doing today. So first, scary things outbound. All right. So the number one, and obviously outbound, there's a lot of scary things that people are doing. I'm going to drop my number 1 and 2 here for outbound. All right, here you go. My number 1 and 2 scary things for outbound is fake personalization or generic personalization. Yes, I like the Chiefs. If you know me, I like the Chiefs. We had a bye week, which was kind of nice. But, we're going to be back at it next week versus Titans. So that is not a reason to meet with you. Because we went to the same college, because we like the same team, or you notice that I live in Austin. Someone sent me this one recently. It was like, oh, Jake, you live in Austin. You must be really excited for Austin FC. Maybe, but sure, I wanted Austin FC to win, but that's not like my jam, right? And so a lot of people really get it twisted. What most people are looking for, what I am looking for, is actually quite simple. Does this person know what the hell that I do? And can they offer value to help me solve any challenges that might be happening? So let me give you a very practical, tactical example. If you're reaching out to me, I run a consulting company, okay? The CEO of Skaled Consulting, for those of you who don't know, we're a sales and revenue strategy and operations consulting firm. What do you think I'm going through right now? Well, the economy's uncertain. Are people pulling back budget? Or maybe some people thinking about, hiring more fractional resources like a firm like ours versus full-time to fill some of their open positions? Maybe. I know my friend John Barris and Sam McKenna both say this kind of idea of show me, you know me. But I just have to tell you, the amount of emails on a percentage basis I get that show that someone actually understands what I'm going through, I'm going to go less than 5%. I'm going to go, less than 1 in 20 people that reach out to me show that they know anything about me, period. And so instead, they just do this personalization. I had a guy and I responded back and I said, look, you sent me 7 straight non-personalized emails. I'm never going to respond to this, man. And it's so funny when I send that back to people, almost nobody ever responds. You got me to engage. Respond. Hey, Jake, you know what? You're right. So guess what? I went and did some research. Here's why I think we should meet. Boom, meeting booked. So the scariest thing about outbound is people trying to short circuit that you have to know what somebody does, what an industry does, what a person like a VP of operations actually does, and showing how you can add value. That's number one. Number two, okay, this one might be controversial. So if you disagree, or if you've got a really good one, feel free to drop it in the chat or drop it in the comments. The breakup email. Do not get me started with the breakup email. We did a test. It's been a few years. I'll give it this because I already thought it was played out a few years ago. And the breakup email had a ridiculously high reply rate. It was I can't remember what, 30%. It had like a 98% no, not interested rate. So it's like, okay, so yeah, it looks good. Well, look, people reply to it. But if everybody says like, yeah, hey, no, I'm just not interested, or yeah, actually, this is something that's a priority in a year from now, the breakup email is a cop-out. Again, it's another one of these cheap gimmicks that's like trying to get someone like build fake rapport or whatever it is. So those are my 2 scary things for outbound is like, if your team isn't being trained on what's most valuable to customers and buyers, what are people going through in these types of times? How are you pivoting? And then when you're going to follow up with people, just keep adding value, right? So that's number one. For outbound. My other, and this is kind of an outbound-ish, but it also is applicable to others. Number 2, scariest things that need to stop if you're going to be successful, not being on LinkedIn in 2022. My friends, you can go and see exactly who is on your profile. You can see the quality of people that are visiting your profile. You can see your customers and buyers liking and commenting on posts. If you would fly somewhere for a speaking spot to talk about thought leadership across the country, would you also be willing to just spend 20 minutes putting together thought leadership on LinkedIn every day where your customers are? So another scary thing I see for organizations, and by the way, this is all for my marketers out there. I got my hand slapped earlier this morning, actually. Because I told a marketing organization that their LinkedIn strategy was bad. It's like, I was like, this isn't good. You can't keep just sharing links. You see what's happening when you just share a link and say, hey, check out our latest thought on this. Here's the link. That's how people consumed information 5 years ago. We want sound bites. Don't maybe have to click a link. Tell me just give the value for free. And so whether it's you're a salesperson who's not being active on LinkedIn or engaging with people, or if you're a marketer out there, hear me out. I want you to track your click-through rate. It's probably garbage. And then on top of that, I want you to also then go and track. I want you to do a similar post, one with no link and just gives the value. The other one is after you've done that. So after you've given the value, right? Verse one that just like teases to the value. I am telling you, you will see. And I would ask you as a marketer, would you rather have 500 views on this thought leadership or have 50 views and not an expanded reach because you put a link in and you got one person to click? So just think about that. Marketers, salespeople, what are you waiting for? Ken Frampton, LinkedIn's the first tab open in my browser. Ken, I 100% agree. I've got some, I'll do a whole, I got a chance in September. LinkedIn flew me out as a sales insider. And so I got to see all this really cool stuff about LinkedIn Sales Nav that I will share. I'll share with all of you. Okay. Number 3, scary things that people have got to change going into the new year. It is qualification obsession, not putting people through the path they want and requiring a qualification call. My friends, we have went off the deep end. We are starting to train more and more salespeople that the goal of the first call is to qualify versus consult, understand, and path people. That is the real goal. The real goal of the first call is to understand current state, what's happening, how's it working, alternatives, where are they at in their journey, help them to understand where we might, tease to where we can help, and then get the right people involved. There is almost a 0% chance that on your first call, you are talking to exactly the right person, and that person alone is going to make a decision. But yet we run this call with this mindset of we're trying to qualify people. Don't get me wrong. It's either a fit or it's not. It's either a fit or it's not. Stop trying to qualify people or disqualify people. Instead, just try to understand, actively listen. Okay, what do they say? Okay, how do they answer that? Okay, John, that's interesting. Tell me a little bit more about that. We are training out the concept of active listening in 2022, and it's been consistently getting worse. We've been getting worse and worse and worse at active listening. And instead, it's like, well, I'm being told to just ask these qualification. And we wonder why deals aren't moving to the next steps. We wonder why we're not closing as much and people are pushing the deal. Well, because we're not treating people as individuals. We're treating everyone on the same path. So another trend that has to end, a scary trend. Ooh, I should have had some Halloween music playing. I think people would have probably appreciated that too. Is we have to switch to understand that sales is about meeting people with where they're at. And therefore we need to focus on understanding where they're at today as a part of this. So Becca, if you're on LinkedIn, if you can post, the quick, so I've got some links in here too that I'll share that'll just help everyone from a data or follow along standpoint. Number 4, so qualification sucks and nobody wants to be qualified, and we should be thinking about consulting with people versus qualifying them. What is number 4? Number 4, most scary things that need to end going into the new year is not being prepared to give value on a first conversation. Jake, what do you mean? We can't demo on a first call. We can't talk about if I am the customer, do you know how what a horrible experience it is for me when I show up for a call, especially whenever you have executives show up and you don't have a value or a ton of value for me in the conversation? It is an immediate either disqualification completely or just starting off on a bumpy path. So Jake, well, what do you mean I shouldn't demo on the first call? I shouldn't, I shouldn't just feature dump. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: if you do the discovery properly, you do the right discovery, that then gives you the ability to say, okay, hey, Jake, I appreciate you taking the last 10 minutes to kind of talk me through. Let me tell you a little bit about what we do. Here's a quick 1 or 2 minute high level. If it's an executive, we call this having a level 1 and a level 2 demo ready. Okay. A level 1 demo is something for executives. It's 5 minutes. This gives them the feet. I want you to imagine a world where this is what's happening. Bah, 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 bah. And then this happens and this happens. And then that's what we do at XYZ. So level 1 demo is a way to give value and talk about what you do in terms of the answers that they gave, and things that you know are relevant to those executives. So that's a level 1 demo. Level 2 demo is maybe the step further. You can get into a little bit of features that are based on what they said before. A quick rule of thumb I have for running that first meeting is if what comes out of your mouth, you can't say, earlier when you mentioned this is how we help you with that, then you probably shouldn't be demoing it. So the issue of why I hear so many people say, well, I'm not sure if I want to demo on the first call, is that they're not good at just linking it back. Hey, you mentioned this. So Jake, hey, from earlier conversation, I heard these 3 things. 1, 2, 3. So look, so the next 10 minutes, what I want to do is we're going to talk through each of those. So first, you mentioned XYZ. So let's just spend a quick high level talking about that and how we might be able to help. 2, you mentioned this. So again, it's just crazy to me that somehow magically in years before, we could find a way to actually both give people value and run a discovery on the same call. Okay. So my friends, if you are wondering why people aren't excited to meet with you, etc., there's a very high likelihood that could be the culprit. So you need to be prepared, whether you have an SDR team or a sales team, to give value on the first call. And value is not a feature dump. Value is, hey, so based on what you told me before, here's how I think we might be able to help with the typical next step of we're going to do, we're going to set up another meeting or whatever that might be. All right, last but certainly not least, scary things and trends we need to get rid of before we go into 2023. Handoffs. Can we please talk about the handoffs between marketing to sales development to sales, sales to onboarding? Can we talk about that? Even if your organization doesn't have all of those, it is a scary experience for your customer too. Your customers are like, wait, what? Why am I talking to this person? So there's some very simple ways you can make this handoff process much less scary. And I'm going to give those to you now. Number 1 is tee the next group up for success. So let's say if I'm in sales, I might want to loop in CS ahead of time. Wow, that might be crazy. Then they can actually know what they're getting themselves into. I might want to say, hey, if I'm an SDR handing off to a seller, how much better of a handoff is here? Here's the usual handoff. Well, great. This seems really interesting. Based on the conversation, I'm going to tee up a meeting with one of our account executives, and they can talk you through more how we might be able to help. Great. And as a potential buyer, I'm like, why did I just sit through this call? Like, what a waste of time. Now, what if the SDR said this? Hey, John, so from this conversation, I heard this, and this are top priorities. Okay. All right. Based on this, what I'm going to do is I want to get one of my fintech, insert industry experts. And so this is somebody who's worked with multiple accounts, very, very similar. I'm going to spend probably 5 or 10 minutes. I'll catch him up ahead of time on XYZ, talk them through some of the challenges, and then tee up, a conversation for, you all to go a little bit deeper early next week. Does that work for you? Great. That's all you have to do. Hey, great. Hey, based on what you said, I want to team me up with someone on my team who I know is really good at XYZ. So that's all you got to do. I think too often, it's like we don't spend that little bit of time to think about the customer and their experience. So instead, we say, well, I'm going to get an account executive involved. And the sales and the customer's like, well, I don't care about any of that. I care about, like, why did I even hop on this, silly conversation here. So that's my number 5 is the handoffs don't have to suck this bad. The handoffs could be way, way, way better if you just chose them to be. Okay. So my scary things in recap. So again, I want you to do this. Hit pause on this. If you're already at this stage, we're going to wrap up here in the next minute or two. And I want you to reflect on this. My 5 scary things. Number 1, in outbound, just teach people what a sector is going through, what people in that sector do, and you will see a much higher conversion in your outbound rate. Eliminate the breakup email or change it to where it always adds value. That's my scary thing number 1. Scary thing number 2, you have to get involved on LinkedIn. I'm telling you, I think automotive is like the 9th most popular vertical. So if you're telling me that your industry is not on LinkedIn, there's very, very few people where that's applicable. This is a chance to be a thought leader in your space on a daily basis. Number 3, is your discovery process focused on qualification versus consultation? You can soundbite that. Is your discovery process looking at consulting somebody or qualifying? If you're qualifying still today, buyers are going to get rid of you. because buyers do not have time. They want to know, wow, this person gets it. They know my space. They're asking smart questions, etc. Number 4, in the discovery process, are we adding value in every conversation? Are we doing everything that we need to do to add value to the other party? Making sure that every single conversation, again, whether you want to do a full demo or not on the first call, I don't care. You need to have something that's going to add value that says, hey, you spent your time talking me through this. Let me walk you through how I think we can help. Here's a couple of ideas before I loop in other people. And last, but certainly not least, 5 scariest thing is the handoff. There's absolutely no reason that the handoff process needs to be this clunky. Okay. There's very easy talk tracks you can build to optimize. So that's what's up, everyone. Thank you for being patient. My son's in 2nd grade. He got flying reviews on my parent teacher conference. So I'm happy about that. And he's happy he gets to stay home and play Nintendo Switch for a while. So I hope this helps some of you, as you're going into 2023, finishing up planning, etc. You're either, maybe some of you are ending your quarter right now. Some of you are getting, you're halfway through your Q4. But again, feel free, DM me, reach out if you ever need anything, and we will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Have a happy Halloween.